Hello friends, Saturn is officially in Pisces and it's time to talk about it. In this episode, I will be discussing all things Saturn in Pisces, all of its significations, what we might expect, as well as Saturn through all of the houses for all of the rising signs. So let's do it. Hello, my friends. Welcome to Saturn in Pisces through all the houses. You can always hop straight to your rising sign from the timestamps in the description. But let's get right into it. So as a slow-moving planet, Saturn takes approximately 28 to 30 years to complete one cycle through the zodiac, spending around 2.5 to 3 years in each sign. Saturn will be in Pisces from March 7th, 2023 to February 13th, 2026. So Saturn is known for its energies of discipline, structure, responsibility, representing the lessons and the challenges that we must face in order to grow and mature. So when transit Saturn goes through Pisces specifically, it brings a lot of focus on spirituality, creativity, art, growth, and also challenges us to confront some fears and limitations that exist. So, as I have mentioned in the past, we have had a Saturn-ruled Saturn for the past 6 years. Saturn was in Aquarius, and then before that, it was in Capricorn. So, for the past 6 years, the planet of structure and authority has only had to answer to himself and nobody else. When Saturn enters the watery Jupiter-ruled sign of Pisces, that will change. Saturn will then have to answer to zaddy Jupiter instead of himself. So a Jupiter-ruled Saturn can definitely help us tap into our deeper inner selves and our higher selves. Saturn in Pisces might encourage us to explore our spiritual practices and connect with our innermost feelings and desires, much more than we've been allowed for the past 6 years. So at the same time, Saturn in Pisces can also bring challenges related to authority and boundaries and self-discipline. Pisces is a sign that is prone to escapism and avoidance, and Saturn's energies might challenge us to confront these. This might require us to set healthy boundaries and practice self-discipline in order to achieve what we are looking for and to make progress in our personal growth. Saturn in Pisces will bring opportunities for us to develop brand new skills and expand our knowledge, as well as deepen our connections with others and explore our spirituality. However, it might also bring challenges and tests that require us to confront certain fears and limitations in order to grow and mature. Saturn loves to respond like that meme, well, that's too damn bad. Saturn needs to get through what it gets through. Saturn has to be in some sign, right? It needs to be in some house. It's always working on something. So let's talk about the areas of life that might be affected by Saturn in Pisces. So one potential effect of Saturn in Pisces is a hopefully greater focus on accountability and responsibility within government systems. Saturn's influence can help strengthen and stabilize these types of systems, but it might also lead to an increased scrutiny or pressure to meet certain standards or expectations, which results in changes to policies and procedures, as well as greater emphasis on following rules and regulations. This is just Saturn. So Saturn in Pisces suggests that we might see a rise in legislation related to, I'm going to start with the nicer way to put it, a rise in legislation related to spiritual or alternative practices that have been traditionally regarded as like out of bounds by mainstream society, and this includes astrology, tarot, and the use of psychedelics for therapeutic purposes. And the influence of Saturn can bring a more conservative, and structured approach to these Piscean topics, which might result in more regulations being imposed on these types of practices. And this can potentially affect people who, people's access and ability to participate in these types of things. So it's important to keep an eye on the changes in legislation around Piscean topics and advocate for responsible and informed decision making. Because the other part is legislation for delusional type things, like what's going on in Florida with book banning and that sort of thing, where legislation gets out of control on some level, especially religion oriented, which is very Pisces. So other things, Saturn in Pisces brings about a greater need for flexibility and adaptability within government systems. Because Pisces is mutable, that's associated with adaptability and the ability to change and adapt to new circumstances. And with Saturn in this sign, there is a need to change or a need to adapt to the changing circumstances of the new challenges, which requires significant adjustments to existing systems and structures. So this is where I'm going. It might include more stability and responsibility in government, or the emergence of new structures or systems designed to meet the needs of the collective, if we are lucky. But again, like legislation around cryptocurrency or legislation around AI, or these things that aren't tangible necessarily. So that moves me into financial structures, another thing affected by Saturn and Pisces. Saturn also rules financial systems and structures, and Pisces, traditionally ruled by Jupiter, can be associated with wealth. When Saturn enters Pisces, it might bring about a focus or structure around financial systems or more need for stability and security. And this is the segue from the cryptocurrency legislation I was talking about. One particular effect might be greater focus on accountability and responsibility within financial systems. Saturn's influence through Pisces might be able to help strengthen and stabilize financial systems, but it might also lead to, again, increased scrutiny and pressure to meet certain standards or expectations. So this could result in changes to policies and procedures, as I said earlier, but a shift with finances, a shift with cryptocurrency, a shift with the banks. There's something happening, especially with Pluto moving into Aquarius at the same time. This brings me to, Saturn and Pisces might potentially introduce another layer of delusion or a sense of delusion to the broader economic and financial systems. This could be done due to the influence of Pisces, which is a sign associated with dreams and mysticism and illusions. And Saturn being here might magnify these types of qualities and make it easier for people to believe in unrealistic or unfounded economic concepts or investment markets, and maybe bring a general loss of confidence in financial institutions. It's important to remain vigilant and rational over our approach to financial systems and investments, especially during periods of uncertainty and confusion, which we are kind of entering in now. Additionally, Saturn in Pisces might bring a greater need for adaptability and flexibility with financial systems. Again, Pisces is a mutable sign, and so we need to be flexible within financial systems. Maybe forgiving some debt. Pisces is also associated with the collective and collective themes and the needs of the community. And Saturn in Pisces might bring a focus of some sort of redistribution of wealth and resources within our society. And this is my most positive take, This might involve shifting to a more equitable distribution of wealth, or finding better ways to uplift marginalized or disadvantaged groups. Saturn bringing more structure to that, which kind of brings me into the next point. Education might be another structure that is shifted when Pisces holds our Saturn buddy. Saturn associated with discipline and structure, especially with Pisces being ruled by Jupiter, which is education a lot of the time, learning, wisdom, expansion. So with Saturn entering Pisces, there might be more of a focus on structure and discipline within our education systems or structures. So this might include an increased emphasis on effective learning methods and the need to establish clear boundaries and expectations within education systems. I mean, in recent years, we've witnessed the education system face major challenges, including with the impact of you-know-what and the emergence of AI nowadays. I love all the videos about English class being over. High school English is over with AI programs in existence now. So Saturn in Pisces might bring a renewed emphasis on accountability and responsibility within education systems. If we're lucky, this could involve setting stricter standards and increased pressure to meet certain expectations. We're hoping they're not going to be delusional expectations, but this will lead to changes in policies and procedures. Hopefully, this brings about more stability and strengthens the education system by promoting greater focus on following higher-minded rules, but, sometimes that is based on illusion and delusion. So we also want to bear in mind the need for flexibility and adaptability with Saturn in a mutable sign with education systems. So be flexible with your education process with Saturn in Pisces. Again, with Saturn in Pisces, there is this possibility of increased delusion in academia and the education system as a whole. Pisces is associated with the imagination and creativity, and while this is very helpful with artistic type things, it's not always helpful in more objective fields like science or history. So the presence of Saturn might amplify this with being in Pisces, creating an environment where subjective beliefs or opinions are given more weight than objective facts, and this could lead to a decline in the quality of education and research, as well as a lack of critical thinking skills and analysis. So it's crucial to maintain a balance between imagination and rationality and promote the pursuit of knowledge based on evidence and data rather than personal biases and preferences. So the next topic I wanted to bring up with Saturn in Pisces is the topic of elders and older people. Pisces is a sign associated with the end of cycles and the passage of time, and Saturn is also the planet of time. So Saturn in Pisces might bring about focus on the needs and experiences of older people. We have boomers aging, and this might include a focus on issues related to aging, such as healthcare, retirement, or a shift in societal attitudes towards older people and their contributions. Generations are continuing to age, okay? And it might feel like we're hitting that point. Another generation has finished their Saturn return, so therefore we have all aged, you know what I mean? So Saturn in Pisces might bring about changes to systems related to healthcare and retirement. In the realm of healthcare, Saturn's influence might lead to a greater focus on accountability and responsibility, resulting in changes in policies if we're lucky. But again, the need for adaptability and flexibility is also more pressing with Saturn in Pisces. Healthcare systems may need to adapt to the changing circumstances and the new challenges that come up. The next thing I wanted to talk about was creativity as a whole. So Saturn in Pisces is a very foundational time for creative pursuits for all you artists out there. When Saturn is in Pisces, it helps to improve all of our creativity by providing a sense of focus and purpose to your artistic endeavors. So Pisces is a very creative and intuitive sign, and its influence can definitely help inspire and stimulate your imagination. The other side of this, Pisces can also be prone to procrastination and a lack of discipline, which is where Saturn comes in. So Saturn's influence can help you stay organized and on track, which leads to increased productivity and better quality work. Also, Saturn in Pisces can help you develop a strong sense of inner discipline and determination, which is essential for helping you cultivate your creative skills and bring your ideas to fruition. This is why such epic art and music was made during Saturn in Pisces. Saturn in Pisces brought us Nirvana, the Smashing Pumpkins, Tupac, Whitney Houston, Dr. Dre, the Rolling Stones, the Beatles, the Doors, Billie Holiday, and many, many more. With Saturn's influence, you might find it easier to stay motivated and committed to your specifically artistic pursuits, even when faced with challenges and setbacks. So overall, Saturn in Pisces will be beneficial for those looking to help improve their creativity, as it helps provide a nice sense of structure and discipline that can be essential for achieving success in a creative field. So I want to talk more about things that might be affected by Saturn in Pisces. The mutable signs, that's Gemini, Virgo, Sag, and Pisces, can expect the next 3 years to be an era of discipline, of foundational work, and maybe some restriction on some level, especially for those of you starting your Saturn return. If you need a Saturn return survival guide, there's a link in my description. But anyway, this ingress, Saturn entering Pisces, might be one of the more challenging ingresses of the year for some. Not the entirety of Saturn in Pisces by any means will be challenging, but I mean, Saturn in any sign is challenging. But the initial change of Saturn moving from its domicile to a sign where it has no particular dignity might be a little bit of a jolt for some. Overall, probably a refreshment, but we'll get there. Okay. So here are a few things that the mutable signs, the Gemini, Virgo, Sag, and especially Pisces houses in our charts might be expected to learn while Saturn saunters through. So number 1, the importance of discipline and structure. So Saturn's influence can help you strengthen and stabilize systems and structures that you're involved in, but it might also bring a greater emphasis in general on discipline and responsibility and following rules and regulations. This can be a learning opportunity to understand the importance of these qualities. Nice, boring grandpa lesson. Gotta learn the importance of these discipline qualities in order to achieve goals and create stability in your life. So number 2, the value of hard work and dedication. So Saturn's transits can often bring about challenges that require perseverance or hard work and dedication. This discipline energy again. So through this kind of thing, you might learn the value of putting in effort and staying committed to your goals. Number 3, the need for adaptability and flexibility. Saturn's transits can also bring about the need for these qualities, as they often coincide with changes or challenges or restrictions or blocks that require adjustments, and especially to existing systems and structures. So learning to adapt and be flexible is a definite valuable skill to have navigating any Saturn transits. Number 4, this one's a little more depresso, the Saturn energy of the role of loss and change in personal growth. So Saturn transits often bring about significant changes and challenges that involve loss or separation. And these types of experiences can definitely be difficult, but they also provide learning opportunities to understand the role of loss and change in your own personal growth. And so through these experiences of loss or change, you learn to cope and find resilience in the face of change. So overall, these transits can be challenging, Saturn can be challenging, but also a major learning opportunity, a major growth experience, pushing you into more maturity and helping you understand the importance of discipline, hard work, and adaptability in achieving stability and success. Okay, and lastly, before I get into the houses, I want to talk about Capricorn risings and Aquarius risings. Y'all are about to embark on a Jupiter-ruled next few years. This is very exciting for growth and advancement. The last 6 years had Saturn, your ruling planet, in Saturn-ruled signs. So it was Saturn on Saturn for the past 6 years. And now we're moving into a Jupiter-ruled Saturn. And the last time Saturn was in a Jupiter-ruled sign was December 23rd, 2014 to June 14th, 2015, and September 17th, 2015 to December 19th, 2017. And that was when Jupiter was in Sagittarius. At that time, Jupiter was a bit more fiery, in a fiery-ruled Jupiter sign. And this time it'll be more inward, more internal. Capricorn and Aquarius houses, planets, or points can expect some Jupiterian or Pisces archetypes or flavors to layer their experiences. So Capricorn and Aquarius risings specifically are going to be harnessing a new archetype for the next 3 years. Your ruling planet is moving into Pisces. So here are some archetypes that the Capricorn risings and the Aquarius risings might be harnessing more of in the next 3 years. Number 1, the healer. So Pisces is associated with compassion and healing and the ability to heal. And so those with strong Pisces influences might be natural healers or helpers. So you might be coming into a healer phase or helper phase of your life. Another one, the creative. Pisces is very creative. So those with strong Pisces influences might have a natural talent for creative expression. Also, number 3, the mystic. Pisces is a very spiritual sign, an intuitive sign. So when Saturn moves into Pisces, you might get a deeper connection to the unseen world and the ability to tap into higher states of consciousness. Number 4, the explorer. Jupiter is the ruler of Pisces, associated with adventure and the desire to explore new horizons. So when Saturn enters Pisces, you might feel Cap risings and Aquarius risings might feel more excited about exploring things, especially inner explorations. Number 5, the teacher. Pisces is a Jupiter-ruled sign, and Jupiter is a teacher sign, a learning sign, an expansion planet, so Jupiter is associated with learning and wisdom. So it might give you a stronger natural inclination towards teaching or sharing knowledge or exploring. And lastly, the visionary is an archetype you might harness more of. Jupiter is the planet of big ideas and grand plans, and those with stronger Jupiter influences, you might harness an archetype of being more of a natural visionary that has a talent for seeing the big picture and thinking outside the box. So, those are all the things I wanted to talk about for Saturn in Pisces. And now I want to tell you the last times Saturn was in Pisces. For those watching the video, here's the list of all the dates. And for those listening to the audio, we're going to go ahead and list them off. So we have May 21st, 1993 to June 30th, 1993. January 28th, 1994 to April 7th, 1996. March 23rd, 1964 to September 16th, 1964. December 16th, 1964 to March 3rd, 1967. February 14th, 1935 to April 25th, 1937. And October 17th, 1937 to January 14th, 1938. Again, the shift is going to affect all of us, but the shift will be loudest for Capricorn risings, Aquarius risings, and for people with important planets or points in any of the mutable signs. That's Gemini, Virgo, Sag, and Pisces. And again, people with Saturn in Pisces begin their Saturn return. So you can check out my Saturn return survival guide if that's you. So the long journey of Saturn's trek through Pisces might pose some obstacles, but fear not. It's a great opportunity to learn the art of discipline, hard work, and adaptability, all of which can lead to more stability and success. So sure, it might require some serious soul searching and facing some sort of limitations, but the payoff is worth it. And by doing so, you will uncover hidden talents and foster deeper bonds with those around you and dive deeper into the spiritual realm. So in summary, this transit is should be seen as a chance to explore our innermost selves and flex our creative muscles and reinforce the foundations of our lives. So instead of shying away, let's buckle up and enjoy the ride. So are you expecting anything to come up for Saturn in Pisces for this big transition? Please let me know in the comments. I love reading your comments. And if you want to join a friendly astrology community full of amazing, supportive mystics, astrologers, tarot readers, don't forget you can chat with me and a bunch of other cool people in the 9th House Discord server. I'm endlessly thankful for your support and for you being here. Let me know if you have any questions or need any clarification. Now I'm going to be jumping into Saturn in Pisces through all the houses. And I'm going to be going through the house order. So that's not the sign order, okay? I'll be starting with Saturn going through the first house, which is Pisces rising. All right, hello Pisces risings. We have Saturn moving through your first house for the next 3 years. So the first house is a house associated with the self, including the physical body, personality, and overall identity. So when Saturn moves through your first house, it brings significant changes and challenges related to your self-image, your identity, and your personal growth. It's one of the more serious Saturn transits. And as you know, Saturn is associated with discipline, hard work, and responsibility. And its movement through your first house will help you to take a more serious and mature approach with your self-expression and your personal development. So you might find that you're more self-aware or more introspective or more self-help oriented during this period as you reflect more on your values and your goals and your priorities. So I'm going to list some possible effects of Saturn transiting your first house. So this includes rethinking your goals and your priorities in life and making changes to align with your true values and your true passions. Also, experiencing significant changes in your personal life, like getting married, getting divorced, or having children, or moving, buying a house, serious foundational things. Also, feeling a heightened sense of responsibility for your personal life path and overall well-being. Experimenting with changes in your physical appearance or your personal style. Seeking to present a more mature or responsible image to the world, especially in professional or public settings. Reevaluating your personal relationships and letting go of those who no longer serve your highest good, your growth, your development. Focusing on self-care and improving your physical, emotional, and mental health and well-being. Developing a stronger sense of self-awareness and identity, and working towards greater self-acceptance and self-love. Assessing your personal strengths and weaknesses and taking steps to improve yourself and reach your full potential. Becoming more assertive and confident in expressing yourself and asserting your boundaries. Facing challenges or obstacles that test your resilience and your determination on your goals. Experiencing a period of self-discovery and exploration as you navigate this very transformative phase in your life. Feeling a sense of pressure to establish your identity and define your place in this world. Reassessing your relationship with authority figures and finding a healthy balance between respecting others and asserting your own needs and desires. Experiencing a renewed sense of purpose and direction in your life and feeling empowered to take charge of your own destiny. Also, exploring new interests and new hobbies and finding ways to express yourself creatively. This is more self-expression, as I've been talking about. And lastly, learning to embrace change and uncertainty as you navigate this period of personal growth and transformation and maturity. So those are some examples of things to expect when Saturn transits your first house. So good luck to my Pisces risings. I'll catch you on the flip side. And let's move on to Aquarius risings. Saturn transiting the second house. Hello, friends. Saturn is leaving your first house and is in your second house now. And when Saturn moves through your second house, it brings significant changes and challenges related to your finances, your values, and your sense of self-worth. Again, Saturn spends around 2.5 to 3 years in each sign. One sec. Yummy. So this transit will have a lasting impact on your financial situation and your overall sense of stability. The second house is associated with personal finances, material possessions, and your sense of self-worth. And when Saturn moves through the second house, you might experience a personal period of financial challenges and limitations, but also have an opportunity to reevaluate your values and your priorities. So here are some examples of what you can expect when Saturn transits your second house. Reevaluation around your personal values and your beliefs, particularly around money, material possessions, and your self-worth. So some sort of reevaluation with these topics. Also, challenges related to financial stability, income, resources, which can create stress and uncertainty. But most of these challenges are related to creating a secure foundation for your finances, so we're down for these types of challenges. Also, examining your relationship with money as a whole and material possessions, making changes that align with your more authentic values. Also, developing a stronger sense of self-worth in general and feeling more confident in your financial and material resources. Reassessing your relationship with your possessions, such as decluttering or downsizing your belongings, minimalism. Again, facing financial obstacles or setbacks, which can be discouraging but present amazing opportunities to learn and grow. Also, making significant strides, again, towards financial stability and independence, which brings a very big sense of accomplishment and empowerment. Feeling a sense of responsibility or pressure to provide for yourself or your family, and potentially taking on additional work or financial commitments to make that happen. Also, the need to budget and maintain finances more responsibly, potentially seeking help of financial advisors or mentors, paying off debt. Also, challenges related to material possessions and a desire to simplify or minimize materialistic tendencies. Minimize materialistic tendencies, and that will lead to a more minimalistic lifestyle, like I said earlier. Also, making significant career changes and taking on a new role in order to increase your financial stability and security. Also, confronting limiting beliefs or patterns related to money and abundance, and working towards shifting these beliefs through mindset work or therapy. And lastly, the last example I have, reevaluating your definition of success and how it relates to financial abundance and material possessions, potentially leading to a shift in your priorities and goals overall. So those are some things to look at as an Aquarius rising with Saturn transiting your second house for the next 3 years. If you have any questions or comments, please let me know below, and I will catch y'all on the flip side. Moving on to Capricorn risings, Saturn transiting the third house. So the third house is associated with communication, your mind, learning, your immediate environment, which also includes your friends, your roommates, your siblings, your relatives, your commute, your transportation, your neighborhood, your community, and your technology, your technical skills, which includes divination and especially writing, and your perspectives, the way you've been thinking about things. When Saturn moves through your third house, it definitely brings significant changes and challenges related to your mind and your immediate environment, which includes your communication style and relationships of those who are physically closest to you. And again, your perspectives, your mental perspectives. So Saturn's influence through the third house might require you to take a more serious and disciplined approach to your communication style, which could lead to improved relationships and better outcomes in your personal and professional life. With Saturn going through your mind and solidifying your perspectives and making you get real with things, it can really upgrade you. Also, you might experience challenges in your relationships, especially with siblings, relatives, and neighbors, which might require you to be or take on a more mature and responsible approach to these types of connections. So here are some examples of what you can expect with Saturn transiting your third house. Focus on improving your communication skills and building better relationships with siblings, relatives, and close friends. Also, experiencing changes in your immediate environment, like moving to a new neighborhood or changing roommates. Also, feeling the need to take a more responsible and organized approach to commuting, to transportation, and your daily routines in general. Developing technical skills and more proficiency with technology, particularly in regards to writing and other forms of communicating. Also, reevaluating your perspectives and your thought processes, the way that you're thinking about things, possibly through therapy or counseling or self-help, leading to greater self-awareness and major personal growth. This is kind of the big one with the third house. It's hard to talk about the tangible aspects of the third house. It's very intangible. It's very mental a lot of the time, relational. So other things, exploring divination practices or other spiritual practices like yoga to gain a deeper understanding of the world around you. Also, challenges related to misunderstandings or miscommunications, leading to the need for greater clarity and precision in language. Talk about big misunderstandings getting realized and cleaned up within this 3-year period. So feeling pressure also to focus on education or lifelong learning, potentially returning to school or pursuing advanced degrees. Also, experiencing obstacles or delays in travel or transportation plans is definitely a thing with Saturn here. Feeling a sense of limitation or restriction in expressing yourself, especially creatively, but also intellectually. Feeling misunderstood is a big one with this also, and working towards detangling that. Reevaluating your relationship with social media, with technology, and finding a healthier balance with their uses. Also, you might be able to expect issues in your sibling's life, not necessarily with your sibling, but issues in their lives. Feeling a heightened sense of responsibility in sharing knowledge and information with others, potentially, like I said, taking on a teaching role or a mentoring role. And lastly, feeling a sense of obligation to use communication skills to advocate for social justice or other important causes. Your mind and your voice are being matured with Saturn in the third house. And now I'm going to move on to Saturn transiting the fourth house, which is for Sag rising with Saturn in Pisces. So when Saturn moves through your fourth house in astrology, there are significant changes and challenges related to your foundation, your home, your family, and your sense of security. The fourth house is associated with your roots, including your childhood, your family history, and your ancestral traditions and generational everything. So when Saturn moves through this house, you might experience a period of increased responsibility and discipline in your foundational life, in your private life. So here are some examples of what to expect when Saturn transits through your fourth house. And there's a leaf blower going outside, so I'm sorry about that. So changes in your living situation, such as moving to a new home or making changes to your living environment. Also, challenges in relationships with family members. You might need to confront difficult conversations or conflicts with family members and might need to take a more mature and responsible approach to these relationships, whether that means trying to work through something or cutting people off. You might be motivated to research your family's past or seek out ways to honor and preserve your cultural heritage. You might need to establish more of a routine and structure in your home life and might need to confront old patterns or behavior that's no longer working for you. Also confronting challenges related to your sense of security and stability, or facing obstacles related to real estate or property ownership. Dealing with general family dynamics and conflicts within your family, or like your family, your mom, your dad, somebody big in your life is having issues in their life. Also, Saturn going through your 4th house really brings reflection on your childhood and your upbringing. Also, feeling a sense of responsibility or duty towards caring for aging or ill family members. A desire to create a sense of home and belonging, even if it means establishing new traditions or new family structures. Working on building a stronger emotional foundation and sense of inner security. Taking steps to establish financial stability and security for yourself and your family. And reassessing your values and your beliefs related to family and home life and making changes to align with personal goals and priorities. Especially pertaining to your family history or your roots. For example, Saturn just moved through my 4th house when it was in Aquarius, and I ended up becoming like a sole caretaker of my grandma, and I also started my own business. So those are very foundational Saturn things in the 4th house. So that's what I have. Thank you so much for being here. Comment below if you have any questions. Thank you for dealing with the leaf blower. That is done now. And I will catch y'all on the flip side. So let's talk about Saturn transiting the 5th house. That's for us Scorpio rising folks. When Saturn moves through your 5th house, it's associated with significant changes in your creative expression, what you do for fun, your recreation, and your love life. So during this period, Saturn is going to test your approach to these areas of life, forcing you to reassess your priorities and commitments with 5th house matters. This is a time of increased focus on personal expression and creativity, as well as a time of introspection around your relationship with pleasure, with fun, and with recreation and hobbies. So this transit might prompt you to reassess your relationship or reassess your approach to love and romance, which can lead to a greater sense of maturity and responsibility in your personal life and romantic life. But this can also definitely bring some challenges like difficulties finding or maintaining relationships or feeling a sense of pressure to settle down. Additionally, the 5th house is associated with children and childbirth. So this Saturn transit might prompt you to reevaluate your views on starting a family and the responsibilities that come with being a parent. So some examples of what to expect when Saturn moves through your 5th house include reevaluating your relationship with fun and pleasure, and potentially feeling pressure to tone down any impulsive or careless behavior. Feeling a sense of responsibility or obligation to bring more structure or discipline. Feeling a sense of responsibility or obligation to bring more structure and discipline into your creative pursuits and your hobbies. Challenges or changes in your dating life or your romantic life, including difficulties with commitment or finding a sense of security in relationships or reassessing your sexuality in some way. Dealing with responsibilities of starting a family or having children. A shift in your focus from short-term indulgences to long-term plans and investments in your creative or leisurely interests. Also, some sort of desire to pursue a creative career or a passion project of some kind, but facing obstacles or blocks or setbacks in that process, which doesn't mean don't do it. It's just Saturn dialing it in properly. Also, challenges related to self-expression like stage fright or writer's block. Feeling pressure to conform to societal expectations around gender roles, sexual orientation, or artistic expression. Also, exploring all new forms of self-expression or any other creative outlets like dance or painting or something that you haven't tried before. Also, reevaluating your relationship with children, whether it's wanting to have them or focusing on your relationship with them if you already have them. And lastly, a focus on personal growth and self-discovery through creative or leisurely pursuits. So, these are some examples to look out for the next 3 years, this next era. And if you have any questions, let me know in the comments. Let me know what you're expecting to come up for you with Saturn in the 5th house. And I'll catch y'all on the flip side. And we're moving on to Saturn transiting the 6th house, which is Libra rising. So, hi Libras. When Saturn transits through your 6th house, it's associated with changes in your work, your pets, and your daily routine. This can be a time of increased focus on responsibility and discipline in these types of areas, and Saturn will test your ability to manage your workload and maintain your physical and mental well-being at the same time. During this period, you might experience challenges related to your job, like feeling overworked, dealing with difficult colleagues or clients, or facing challenges in general in your career. You might also experience physical health issues or challenges in your daily routine, such as difficulties with finding a work-life balance or difficulties in maintaining a healthy lifestyle on some level. So your responsibility in your relationship with your pets may also change during this transit. This can manifest as experiences like making decisions about the care and well-being of your pets or needing to take on more responsibility for their care. You might also need to reevaluate your relationship with your pets and make changes to better support their well-being. So, however, this can also be a very transformative time as you're more able to develop a stronger work ethic and healthier habits to elongate that. So it's important that you find healthy ways to cope with any challenges that come up with Saturn in the 6th house. Chronic things are highlighted with Saturn in the 6th house. Autoimmune things are highlighted. So we have to take very good care of ourselves, practice self-care, seek support when needed, and keep a positive attitude and a proactive approach. And then Saturn through the 6th house can definitely be a great opportunity for personal growth and improved habits, improved routines, and improved health. So let's talk about some other examples of what to expect when Saturn goes through the 6th house. Feeling overwhelmed by work and overwhelmed by responsibilities is definitely a thing. Struggling with physical health, especially chronic health conditions or autoimmune issues. Feeling frustrated with daily routines or feeling a lack of sense of direction. Facing challenges at work or with colleagues or with clients. Making changes to improve the work-life balance and overall health habits. Taking on new responsibilities or learning new skills to advance your career or your job. Reevaluating your approach to work and health and making positive changes. Feeling a sense of duty and responsibility towards serving others in a professional capacity. Making yourself more serious about clients, for example. Or feeling the need for more structure and organization in your daily life and in your work routine. Also, challenges related to time management and balancing multiple tasks and multiple responsibilities can come up. And experiencing conflicts or tension at work due to differences in work styles or work approaches is possible. Also, reflecting on the relationship between physical health and mental well-being and making changes that support both is huge with the 6th house. Also, feeling pressure to meet expectations and standards in your own work and your own professional role. All of this might push you to experience a shift in your career goals or your career aspirations, leading to a need for training or further education or wanting to shift careers possibly within the next 3 years. And again, dealing with health topics more frequently as possible. Lastly, confronting limitations and obstacles related to work health and work health. I like that as one word. Work and health or work health. And finding creative solutions to overcome them over the next 3 years. It's a very helpful time, and that's what I have. So thank you so much for listening. Let me know if you have any questions. Let me know what you're expecting to come up for you in the next 3 years, and I will catch you all on the flip side. We're moving on to Saturn transiting the 7th house, or I'm talking to you, Virgo risings. When Saturn transits through your 7th house, it's associated with major changes and transitions within your relationship dynamics and your partnerships. So this is a time of increased self-awareness and introspection about your patterns and tendencies in relationships, as well as a time to reevaluate the balance of give and take and boundaries in partnerships. So during this era, you might experience challenges related to one-on-one time, as Saturn will test the foundation of all of your connections and make you confront any limitations or restrictions that have been holding you back from your ideal partnership dynamics. And this can manifest in experiences like feeling a sense of uncertainty about romantic relationships, struggling with trust issues, or feeling overwhelmed by the responsibilities and expectations in partnership. Saturn moving into your 7th house means some sort of Saturnian figure is probably moving into your life on some level. So this can be a very transformative time, as you're going to be more able to develop a stronger understanding of your own needs and desires in relationship dynamics, and this will help you create very fulfilling partnerships and relationships. So it's important for you to find healthy ways to cope with whatever you are learning with Saturn in Pisces. So don't forget to seek support from loved ones or counseling or therapy if you need it. Practice self-care and keep a positive attitude. So let's talk about specific things you might be able to expect with Saturn through your 7th house. So reevaluating existing relationships and reassessing the balance of power and responsibility within those relationships. Having a desire to establish stronger, more committed partnerships, whether love or business, but partnerships are big. Experiencing a challenge or obstacle in finding a compatible partner, which might lead to a stronger focus on self-improvement or personal growth. Also, examining patterns of past relationships and learning from past mistakes is a big Saturn in the 7th house thing. My cat Egg is playing if you hear any weird noises, okay? Feeling a sense of responsibility to create a more mature and stable relationship dynamic for yourself, which could mean getting married, getting divorced, or opening your relationship up, for example. Also, focus on working through conflict and resolving relationship issues in a responsible and mature manner. Saturn's there helping you with your relationships. So there could be a desire to define and clarify relationship roles, boundaries, and expectations as well. That's kind of saying the same thing, but in a different way. So reflecting on the dynamics of partnership and the impact relationships have on your personal growth and development is huge with this era. And examining the balance of give and take in relationships and making adjustments that create more harmony and mutual respect in your relationships. But this isn't all sunshine and roses, right? We're going to be experiencing some challenges while you get there related to partnerships. There might be some legal disputes or financial disagreements or difficulties with compromise that you have to work through over the next 3 years. This is no quick thing, you know? Reevaluating your approach to relationships and communicating in relationships and making changes to improve your communication to build stronger connections with others. Also, you might be feeling pressure to conform to societal expectations around relationships and marriage. So don't be surprised if you feel some pressure there. But also exploring new forms of partnership like polyamory or open relationships, or learning to navigate the complexities of non-traditional relationships. This includes Saturn rules older people, so having relationships with age gaps is also a theme. Challenges related to finding the right business partner or collaborating effectively with colleagues can be a topic that comes up. And my last example is a desire to find a deeper sense of meaning and purpose in relationships beyond just companionship or practicality. So looking into past lives and that sort of thing might be a topic. So that's what I have for Saturn transiting the 7th house for my Virgo risings. Let me know if you have any questions. Let me know what you're expecting to come up. I love to hear the tea or read the tea. And that's what I have. Thank you so much. Moving on to Saturn transiting the 8th house. This is my Leo risings. Hello, friends. So when Saturn transits through the 8th house, it indicates major changes and transitions related to shared resources, transformations in general, relationships, and the general deeper aspects of life. So this is a time of increased introspection and self-awareness, and a time to reevaluate your values and beliefs around resources that you share and your old traumas. So during Saturn in Pisces, you might experience challenges related to financial stability or emotional security, and you will find that they are intertwined, right? Also, your sense of control over your life is a big one with the 8th house. Saturn will test your foundation and make you confront any limitations or restrictions that have been holding you back, which can manifest in experiences such as financial stress, relationship difficulties, or general emotional turmoil and working through healing old traumas. However, this is a very transformative time, and you're going to be able to work through old baggage and gain a deeper understanding of your emotional and financial needs. So it's important for you to find healthy, ways to cope with this type of transit. So be sure that you are practicing self-care. Be sure that you seek help when you need it, whether that's from friends, family, or therapists. But keep a positive attitude because Saturn through the 8th house is very healing, okay? Let's talk about some specific examples of Saturn through the 8th house. So reevaluating and restructuring financial agreements, as well as relationships that are related to shared resources like mortgages and loans and that sort of thing. Also, confronting past traumas, losses, deaths, which can bring a deeper understanding of your emotional and psychological needs. Another layer of awareness being born. Also, experiencing changes and challenges related to personal transformation, like finding stability after significant changes in your life or overcoming anxiety or mental health issues. Also, creating or working with inheritances, living trusts or wills, and working through challenges with these topics. Also, examining your personal values and beliefs related to money and wealth and making changes that align with them and your life goals and priorities. Reassessing power dynamics is huge with Saturn in the 8th house. Reassessing power dynamics in relationships and exploring the role that they play in your own life, including your fears and your insecurities with these power dynamics. It gives you opportunities to take your power back in situations where you have given it away. We're taking our power back with Saturn in the 8th house. We also have exploring new avenues for deepening intimacy in close relationships, both romantic and non-romantic. Getting more serious in relationships is possible. Also, if you're in a partnership, issues in your partner's life may come up with Saturn in the 8th house. Not as in you two are having issues together. I mean, your partner has a lot of issues going on in their life and you've been having to help them with that. Feeling the need to seek spiritual or psychological guidance to navigate whatever complex emotional landscapes come up for you during this time. It's hard to do by yourself, okay? Also, experiencing a sense of vulnerability or loss of control in personal and professional relationships. The 8th house is a lot about wanting control where you don't have it. It's also a lot about working harder on things that you would consider side quests that are more not forefront in your life, but kind of like background noise that really does shape the forefront of your life, right? So feeling a sense of responsibility to confront and overcome personal demons or limiting beliefs is huge. And reassessing, this is like a very existential house, reassessing your understanding of life and death and exploring your own mortality and your own legacy are things to think about with this 3-year era. Exploring alternative approaches to healing, such as therapy or alternative medicine, to address deep-seated emotional or physical issues. And lastly, feeling a sense of urgency to make positive changes in your personal or professional life and taking decisive action to achieve whatever it is you want to achieve. So this is what we have for the 8th house. It's very heavy, but it's very healing, and it's not as in your face as the other ones. A lot of background stuff going on, a lot of background work to do over the next 3 years. So that's what we have. Thank you so much for being here. Comment below if you have any questions or if you need any clarification. Comment below and let me know what you're expecting to come up in the next 3 years, and let's look back and see if we were right. That's kind of fun, right? All right, let's move on. Okay, Saturn transiting through the 9th house. So that is Cancer rising. Hello, Cancer rising. When Saturn transits through your 9th house, this is associated with major changes and transitions with your belief system, with your perspectives, with your values, and with your world view. It's a very broad one and can be a time of increased self-awareness and introspection, and a time to reevaluate your understanding of the world and your place in the world. So during Saturn in Pisces, during this era, you might experience challenges related to your beliefs and your understanding of the world. Saturn will test your foundation and make you confront any limitations and restrictions that have been holding you back, which could be the way that you think about things or your worldview in some level. So this can manifest as feeling a sense of uncertainty about your beliefs, or struggling with self-doubt, or feeling overwhelmed by responsibilities and expectations of adulthood. But this can be a very transformative time, and you're able to develop a stronger sense of self and clear direction in your life. It's important that you find healthy ways to cope with this, so be sure that you are working on self-care and self-help and keeping a positive attitude. So let's talk about some examples of what you can expect with Saturn transiting the 9th house. Okay, so first, reevaluating your beliefs and your spiritual practices. This is a big one with Saturn moving through the 9th house. Also, maybe feeling a sense of boredom and disillusionment with belief systems that you're involved with. Maybe struggling with fear and anxiety related to spirituality or religion, or traumas related to that. Maybe considering taking a trip or a journey to gain new perspectives, like traveling abroad or living abroad for a while, or hanging out with someone who is from abroad or from overseas, or hanging out with someone that is of a different culture than you. Feeling the need to study or learn more. Feeling pressure to conform to societal norms and beliefs with Saturn here. Maybe reevaluating your relationship to astrology, the occult, and other esoteric subjects, and maybe deepening your studies with those. Feeling a sense of responsibility to share knowledge and beliefs with others. Maybe experiencing challenges related to the legal system or challenges with academia. Also, challenges or blocks while traveling, if you are traveling. I'm not saying every single thing you do will be a pain, but things will be a bit slower maybe, or you're dealing with things that are pushing you back. But also, exploring different philosophical or religious traditions and practices is totally supported with Saturn in the 9th house. This comes with the challenging of the beliefs and the values that you were taught in your childhood. Maybe you're open to looking at other things because you are challenging your beliefs. Also, feeling a sense of disconnect from your cultural or religious identity and questioning what that means for you. Encountering people and experiences that challenge your worldview and that force you to conform to certain other beliefs, ethical, moral standards that aren't natural to you. Also, struggling with a crisis of faith or loss of belief in something that was previously very important to you. Exploring higher education, whether that be pursuing a degree or taking courses that expand your knowledge and skills. School is definitely a subject. And lastly, encountering challenges related to publishing, media, or broadcasting, like difficulty getting your message out to a wider audience on some level, but also working hard at that storytelling, writing a book, that sort of thing is supported with Saturn in the 9th house. So that's what I have. Thank you so much for being here. Comment below if you have any questions or if you need any clarification. Let me know what you're expecting or how you're going to be harnessing Saturn in the 9th house. And I'd love to read what you have to say. And we're going to move on to Saturn in the 10th house. So let's talk about Saturn transiting the 10th house now, or I'm looking at you, Gemini risings. When Saturn transits the 10th house, it brings significant changes and challenges related to your career and your overall public image. So this is an era that can test your career foundation, forcing you to confront any limitations and restrictions that have been holding you back in your professional life. So during this era, you might experience challenges like uncertainty about your career direction, self-doubt about your abilities, or feeling overwhelmed by the responsibilities and expectations of your role. So you might also face challenges or changes in your job or your career, difficulties in advancing in your field, or some sort of negative feedback from the public or your peers. However, this is a major time that is very transformative, allowing you to develop a stronger sense of purpose and direction in your professional life. So let's talk about some specific examples of experiences during Saturn through the 10th house. Feeling a strong urge to take on more responsibility and leadership roles in your career. Spending more time with elders or ancestors or mentors or people who know more about a subject than you do. Struggling with expectations related to your high-profile job or pressure about being in a position of authority. Reassessing your goals and your priorities and making significant changes in your career path. Dealing with challenges related to authority figures or colleagues in your professional life, like conflicts with a boss or difficulty collaborating with team members. Maybe finding yourself at a crossroads in your career, feeling unsure about the next steps to take or the direction to go in. Confronting any limitations or restrictions overall in your life, like a lack of recognition, a lack of support, a lack of resources. The 10th house is a very overarching house. Also, balancing personal and professional goals or feeling like your personal life is being compromised by the demands of your career. Definitely a thing that's possible. Reevaluating your reputation and your image and making changes that align with your true values and your true goals. Reflecting on how your professional life fits in with the larger picture of your life purpose and your life values. Feeling an increased sense of responsibility and pressure to perform well in your job. Starting a business or being promoted into a position of authority is possible. Or feeling a strong desire to make a significant impact or contribution in this world. And lastly, maybe desiring to make a significant impact or contribution in your life and in the world. So these are things to consider with Saturn through your 10th house. Let me know if you have any questions or if you need any clarification. Comment below. Let me know what you're expecting to come up for this next 3-year era. And I will see you next time. And we're moving on to Saturn transiting the 11th house, or my Taurus risings. So Saturn transiting the 11th house might provide you with a strong urge to reassess and restructure your social and professional relationships and to reflect on your own personal goals and aspirations, both individually and as part of a larger group or community. Saturn's influence can bring challenges to your connections and your relationships, testing the stability and the strength of your bonds with others. This social sphere that I'm bringing up also includes social media, so that's something to consider. So these challenges might manifest in experiences like feeling isolated or disconnected from a social circle, or experiencing conflicts or disagreements with friends or allies, or feeling like you're not receiving the support that you need from those around you and allowing you to reassess who you surround yourself with. So let's talk about some specific examples of what you can expect with Saturn in your 11th house. Reflecting on and redefining your social circles and your friendships. I'm going to start with what I said a minute ago. So I'm going to start with what I've already said, which is reflecting on and redefining your social circles and your friendships. Also, maybe feeling a sense of loneliness or isolation as you realize that some relationships you have may no longer serve your growth and your personal goals. Also, focusing on building and strengthening your network and connections with others, including professional, colleagues, connections, and allies. Balancing and maintaining relationships with friends, with community, and professional colleagues becomes a main theme with Saturn in this house. Also, feeling a heightened responsibility to use your influence and your connections for a greater good and make a positive impact on society. Also, finding purpose and motivation to work towards your goals, and especially with the support of your community and your friends. Also, assessing groups and organizations that you're involved with and whether or not they align with your values and beliefs, and finding one that does align with your values and beliefs. Again, letting go of old social connections, letting go of people who no longer serve your growth, even if they've been there forever, letting go of friends and colleagues and allies that are not what you thought they were. Becoming more involved in community and larger networks, and finding fulfillment in contributing to a cause or a collaborative, collective effort. Struggling to find a sense of belonging or acceptance within your social circle and feeling like an outsider. This is especially true for people who have had a solid social circle already and need to have Saturn come through and clean house. For those of you who have already cleaned house, Saturn will come through and help build a foundation. Also, challenging the status quo and, questioning your values and beliefs that are within a group or within a community that you're involved with. And lastly, reevaluating your goals and your aspirations and making changes that align with these true values and passions. The 11th house also rules your dreams and your aspirations. So Saturn comes through and brings a new foundation to your ultimate aspirations and dreams and the community that you need to help cultivate that. So that's what I have. Thank you so much for being here. Comment below if you have any questions or if you need any clarification. Comment below and let me know what you are expecting to come up for this Saturn transit, and I will catch you on the flip side. And we're moving on to Saturn transiting the 12th house. I'm looking at you, Aries rising. So during Saturn through the 12th house, you might face challenges related to subconscious fears, anxieties, and traumas that may have been affecting you without your knowledge, running in the background of your life. And this can be a time or an era of introspection and self-reflection as you feel a little bit more withdrawn or isolated from your normal routine and relationships on some level. You might feel a little bit confined or limited, either physically or emotionally, which might cause you to feel stuck or trapped in current situations. And it's very important that you find healthy ways to cope with this feeling, such as by seeking support from loved ones, practicing self-care, or going to therapy or counseling. But this is a major, major time of spiritual growth and self-discovery for Aries risings as you gain a deeper understanding of your inner self and connect with your unconscious mind. So this leads to a majorly bigger sense of awareness and stronger connection with the spiritual realm. So let's talk about examples of specific experiences you might experience with Saturn transiting your 12th house. A need to retreat from social situations and engage in more solitary activities, or confronting challenges related to spirituality or your connection with a higher power. Also, struggling with hidden fears, anxieties, or psychological challenges that may have been previously repressed. They come up to be healed. Also, another theme, traveling solo is an experience of Saturn in the 12th house. Especially, feeling exiled in some way. Also, a 3-year period of transformation and growth through therapy or spiritual practices or other forms of self-reflection and introspection. Again, a difficulty with feeling stuck in your life and feeling like you're not making progress in areas that are important to you might come to your attention. Noticing a sense of marginality or feeling like you don't fit in with others, and finding an ability to help other people in these situations. Dealing with hidden enemies, which are people that you didn't know were your enemies, or dealing with challenges that are not or have not been immediately apparent. Feeling a need to disconnect from the outside world and engage in creative or meditative practices. Experiencing vivid dreams and heightened intuition for the next 3 years is possible. Navigating through feelings of guilt and shame and self-doubt related to past actions and past behaviors is coming up to be worked on in this era. Also, a desire to explore the unknown or pursue mystical or spiritual practices is supported while you're navigating all of this. Also, noticing a sense of sacrifice or selflessness, putting other people's needs before your own, and finding the boundaries and balance with that. And also, we have challenges that are related to addiction or escapism or any other self-destructive behaviors. Things, like I said, that have been kind of happening in the background and haven't been a focus until now. And lastly, an opportunity to cultivate greater compassion and empathy towards others and the world around you, because you'll be doing that with yourself. So that's what I have. Thank you so much for being here. Comment below if you have any questions or if you need any clarification. Comment below and let me know what you're expecting to come up with this era of transformation. And that's it. That's all I have. This is all we got. So, again, if anyone else is here besides Aries rising, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope that Saturn in Pisces treats us all well. It's a nice breath of fresh air, in my opinion. But yeah, that's it. That's all I have. So thank you so much for being here. I will see you next time. Mwah! Bye, friends.